Living Local is here with the Ontario Beekeepers Association, here to learn about the world of busy bees. Dan, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Tell us what the Ontario Beekeepers Association is and what you do.
All right, well, the Ontario Beekeepers Association is an organization that's main goal is to support beekeepers in Ontario and to help with knowledge transfer and networking, basically, so that beekeepers here can keep bees healthy. I work for the Ontario Beekeepers Association, their technology transfer program, and so we are the knowledge and research extension program of the OBA.
Bees, they are so much more important than we realize. Why is that?
Well, bees are just really important for pollinating, and that's kind of the big role that they have. So regardless of whether they're honeybees like we have here or different kinds of bees, their job is to pollinate flowers, so we don't really get fruit or nuts or anything like that unless bees pollinate those plants.
What is the role of Ontarians to actually protect bees in their very own backyards?
So there's a lot of things that people can do to protect bees in their own backyard. So growing pollinator gardens is going to help not only honeybees but all kinds of other native pollinators. There's about 800 or so species of pollinators, native pollinators here in Canada. So all of those benefit from those gardens that people plant. There's a little bit of a let your lawn grow before you mow it kind of idea. So letting things like dandelions and clovers kind of bloom before you mow them down is great, because it means that's a food source for bees before you cut it all down.
So the OBA works with so many different organizations like bee breeders, honey keepers. You even give people their own boxes to start their own bee colonies. What is your goal in doing all of this?
So it all comes back to basically keeping the honeybee population here in Ontario healthy. So we work with a lot of different universities around the province and around the country in general to work on projects to help improve bee health and understand what's maybe making them not healthy. A big part of our job is working with breeders here in Ontario, because a better way of kind of keeping bees healthy than putting chemicals into the hives is to breed bees that are more resistant to diseases. So we're very involved in the breeding program here in Ontario and basically selecting for disease-resistant bees. And then obviously all of that information that we get needs to be disseminated to new beekeepers so that they know what they're doing and they're able to keep healthy bees.
There's so many facts about honeybees and what you guys do here. If people want to learn more, they can go to a workshop, either online or in person. What do you guys do in the workshop?
We have 3 different workshops. We have an introductory beekeeping workshop, an integrated pest management workshop, and a queen rearing workshop. So our first one is more for beekeepers that are just getting started, and we go through the different components of a hive, basic bee biology, and going through a hive and kind of showing them how to manage a colony throughout a year. We usually call our integrated pest management kind of the doom and gloom workshop, but it is important stuff to learn, but it's all about keeping bees healthy, and we go over all of the different pests and diseases as well as the available treatments that they can use here in the province. And then the queen rearing workshop is a little bit more advanced for beekeepers that have a few years under their belt, and that would be how to raise queen bees, which is a bit more of an advanced technique.
Right now, we are going to be taking the Introductory to Beekeeping course with Kelsey. I'm so excited, Kelsey. But before we actually get into the hive, what is the first step we need to take?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first step whenever you're walking into a bee yard is to make sure you've got the proper gear. So you can see we're all geared up today. We've got our veils to make sure we're always protecting our face and our eyes. And then everything else is going to depend on how comfortable you are as a beekeeper in your bee yard. And it's going to depend on what you're doing. So if it's going to be a lot of heavy work, the bees are going to be going crazy, then you want to get a full suit together with tight wrists and tight ankles. I'm going to be pretty casual today, just in a t-shirt, because we're not going to be riling up the bees too much.
And you're a pro, so that makes sense. One of the biggest fears, I'm sure, is getting stung. What is the likelihood of that happening, and what happens after you do get stung?
So it really depends on what you're doing in a bee yard. More often than not, I come into a bee yard and I'm not doing anything that's gonna rile up the bees too much and want to get them to sting me. Stings usually happen by fault of the beekeeper. So whether you're picking up a frame and you accidentally squish a bee, that's gonna cause them to sting you. Or you sit down sometimes and there's a bee on the chair and you don't check for it. So that's when you get stung. It does happen. It's generally not too big of a deal.
The queen bee is crucial to any colony surviving. What are some ways the bees are going to protect her, and what's her main role in the colony?
Yeah, so the queen is definitely number one. So she's the only reproductive female in the colony.
Wow.
So she's the only one who can lay eggs. So all of the other bees in there, they're all her babies. So she is the mother of the entire hive. So her role is to make sure that she's constantly laying eggs so the colony can stay strong and have a good population all season long. In terms of protecting her, the workers really rule the roost. I mean, the queen is the mom, but the workers really decide what's gonna happen in the hive. So when they start feeling like the queen is slowing down, then they'll replace her. That's their decision. So they'll start to create a new queen and they'll toss out the other one. And just straight up.
Whoa! Look at this. I'm holding about like, what, 100 bees right now? Maybe
Yeah,
more?
Probably like 300 or
300
so.
bees. I'm holding 300 bees. Who would have ever thought that I'd ever do this? This is insane. I'm sure you have so many more facts and information about bees, but if people actually want to learn more, where can they go to find out more information?
Yeah, great question. So the OBA has a website, OntarioBee.com, and there's loads of information there about how to get started in beekeeping, how to find local beekeepers if you want to buy their honey, and a lot of different information that way.
Well, I guess I'm the queen of living local. I mark myself, it's official. Queen bee here.